Good evening and welcome to Sunset News this Thursday evening.
As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather, and sports. I am Glenora Shipura.
And I am Diana Master.
It's great to have you on the show. Now, getting into the news tonight, the residents of Ekongola village in the Ombulu district who protested against an incoming headman continue to air their grievances in the hope of having the new leader removed. End of last month, the community members submitted a petition to the Ondonga Traditional Authority condemning the appointment of a hand-picked headman for their village. Their cry fell on deaf ears, and this week the group assembled again for another demonstration. Oshikoto Police Regional Commander Commissioner Teopolina Kolomba Nashakuku told the group that gatherings should be conducted in an orderly and peaceful manner. The handing of the petition will only be done at a public space, and no petition will be handed over at a private residence or house. The demonstration is against Silvanus Elago, who was appointed by the OTA as the new headman of Ekongola village following the death of Antonius Ngihilongwa in 2021. Elago was inaugurated last month. The group argued that the late Ngihilongwa nominated 3 people who could replace him in the event of his death, but they were not considered. The petitioners repeated their argument that the Traditional Authorities Act of 2000 stipulated that headmen should be elected by a resident of that resident, and he or she should be a permanent resident in that area with a house in that village. During their demonstration, they chanted that they would not be ruled by Elago and that they did not want him, and he should hear this loud and clear cry. Now, OTA Senior Traditional Counselor John Walenga said the king has the power to appoint anyone, whether they reside in that village or not. At the time, Walenga said Ondonga could not have unruly people and their days would be numbered, as a traditional authority can only lead people who have peace and order as per the OTA. Nambian San could not reach Walenga, Elago, or comment from the OTA leadership. Wow.
Quite interesting indeed. I mean, rules are there in place to avoid commotion and to avoid, misunderstandings and things like that. So I'm pretty sure if the rules have been decided upon, it's just in everyone's best interest to follow those rules.
Yeah, but then again, you are wondering if, the person was not from the village, and they do have solid arguments around it, and I'm actually quite interesting to see how it unfolds and whether it's going to be resolved or it's just people accepting that it is what it is. Yeah.
All right, now getting into our next story, 31-year-old woman identified as Justina Tulela Imbili was stabbed to death on the night of Family Day in Henties Bay, allegedly by men she recently broke up with. The alleged killer was identified only by the names Petrus, Nehale, or Chocolate, but his full official name could not be established at the time of going to press. Aged about 53, Petrus has allegedly refused to accept the breakup and had been stalking Imbili for some time. He would come by her house at odd hours trying to see if she was home. She was living in fear for a long time, Imbili's friends told the Namibian Sun. It is alleged that Imbili broke off the relationship after being made aware that Petrus had another woman in his life whom he was planning to marry. The new woman was recommended by Petrus by his family and her family so that the two could marry in the near future. When Imbili heard the news, she told Petrus that it was best if they broke up so that he could focus on the new woman in his life. Petrus refused to let either of the women go. The new woman, who lived in the north, has been living in Henties Bay lately to be close to him, sources said. On Family Day, Imbili, an employee at a local guest house, worked until 2 p.m. In the evening, she went out for a drink at a bar in the Oshike Shitweta location, where Petrus showed up and allegedly threatened her. Fearing for her life, she asked the bartender if she could accommodate her for the night, but the bartender also feared that Petrus might show up at her house and harm her. She advised Imbili to go home and lock herself in her shack. She arrived home at approximately 10 p.m. where Petrus allegedly had been waiting. Moments later, neighbors heard the pair quarreling and they heard Imbili saying, "Why are you stabbing me? Why are you killing me?" Petrus fled the scene and tried to end his own life by drinking battery acid, which he failed to do. He is currently hospitalized under heavy police guard and was described as stable.
What a sad turn of events. When I read the story, I was really, really disturbed by it. It's just an individual who's very, very selfish. I mean, she stepped away from the relationship for valid reasons. And then, this happened to her. Even after she said, I don't feel safe, I would rather, sleep at a friend's place or someone else's house. I think also as a community, we need to also, take arms and say, no, this is not going to happen on our watch. If somebody comes to me and says they feel, not safe, maybe we should find ways to handle it.
But what I've noticed recently is that we don't really come together when there are things like this. How many times have you seen people stop when someone is being robbed? People just continue minding their business. How many times do you see people being harassed or assaulted, especially women? And the people that are supposed to help and be up in arms just let you go.
You know what?
I, for once, had that
incident
where there was a man harassing me, and there were security guards at the place, but they didn't do anything about it.
So that's their business. What was
it's none of our business.
I don't like that. I don't like that approach that we as a community have, and I've seen it too many times. You can hear this woman gets beaten by her husband every second day. You're a neighbor or whatever, or a friend. We always relegate these things to they are just friends. And that's just not fair. But I mean, not that they are just friends. I mean, that's them and their family, and
like it's none of our business.
Exactly, and I don't like that.
But then again, right? At the end of the day, victims of abuse. Abuse is a very tricky situation because the victim is usually sheltered away from everyone else. So even if you do come and offer help, they'll tell you, no, I'm fine. So I guess it would be a thing of getting social services involved, getting the police involved, because then they can intervene and you can then, I guess, inform the police and social services to intervene, and you keep your distance.
Exactly. And whereas in this instance, you could see that this guy was, this man was clearly not in his right state of mind if he followed her to wherever she went, and then he still waited for her at her house. I feel like had there been other steps, maybe we would not be hearing the tragic death of a woman. Maybe we would be hearing, someone was apprehended trying to stab a woman.
Agree.
So it's really, really sad. But like you said, it's also very hard to reach victims. But in this case, she was clearly trying to get out of this abusive relationship. She was clearly very articulate and clear about her boundaries, which were not respected. And, this is her fate.
All right, so that brings us to the end of our top stories. Now, after the break and some light-hearted news, we get to talk about the sound of summer, which is geared up. Stay tuned.
Now getting into our entertainment news, in the coastal paradise of Langstrand, the anticipation for the 6th edition of the Savannah Sound of Summer was reaching a crescendo. The organizers, driven by the desire to provide an exhilarating and world-class event for Namibians and international tourists, are gearing up for a thrive like no other. The marketing director, Talitha Ellis, added, exciting additions in store for the enthusiastic partygoers. In addition to the magical main stage, a new Amapiano stage is promised to elevate the musical experience. The food court and bars were upgraded to ensure a gastronomic journey alongside the diverse beats. Spectators can expect an unforgettable day filled with culinary delights from seasoned chefs and a lineup of well-known DJs spanning various genres, both local and international. The stage is set to create an immersive experience where the warmth of the season mingles with the rhythm of the music. With an investment of close to $4 million, the event has become a significant contributor to the local economy, employing over 250 staff and supporting various businesses. The event is scheduled to take place at the Langstrand Tidal Pool area today, December the 28th. The festivities were set to kick off at noon, resonating through the night until 11 p.m. Despite the success of the previous year, the Beach Bash was notably absent from this year's lineup. The organizers clarified that this decision was made with a peppers.
Definitely looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, people are currently there and we are in Windhoek, unfortunately. We would definitely love to be there, but I have heard a lot of people usually complain about Sound of Summer. Not because of anything too bad in particular, but the fact that the food stalls and the drink stalls are usually packed. Like the queues are ridiculously long because I mean
it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people that go to the coast during this time. So I can imagine. Actually, never thought of it.
Yes.
I've never had a coastal experience in December, so I want to know what that's like. But I'm always, especially with this Sound of Summer festival, I've never attended it, so I was quite excited. You know, I can't go now, but you know, for next year, and to hear that you know they've sorted out stuff, so I guess we're in the, you know, right step.
Hopefully, I do hope that they, you know, figure out a way. Well, I guess now because they introduced more food stalls, more drink stalls, then certain food stalls won't be too packed.
Exactly.
But then again, I feel like that takes away from the whole festival experience.
If there's too many,
like if the lines are ridiculously long, like you've been to the fair, or you've been to the showgrounds where you have to stand in these long queues. It takes that excitement.
You know, not a fun fact, but one of the reasons why I didn't go to the showgrounds this year is when I planned to go, I saw this long queue to just get in, and then I was just like, you know what,
it takes away.
Yeah, I would rather spend that 1 hour, 2 hours that I was going to, you know, spend in a queue at home. You know?
Exactly.
So I hear what you're saying. So hopefully it's not the case this time around. And for next year when we finally get to go.
But we do have some of our friends that are there, so they are going to be giving us updates and telling us how it goes. We do certainly hope that everyone who's in the coast enjoying Sounds of Summer are keeping safe and importantly are having fun. We'll now be taking a quick ad break and returning with our economic news. Stay tuned.
Enjoy the season's best prices all month long at Woermann Brock. 2-liter farmhouse ice cream for $44.99. 1-liter fruit tree juice for just $18.99. 2-liter Coca-Cola Original for just $19.99. 2-liter WB cooking oil for only $64.99. And 2 kg Sky hand wash powder for $39.99. See all our specials online at www.woermannbrock.com.
In economic news this evening, Reconnaissance Energy Africa, better known as Recon Africa, continues to advance activities in preparation for its drilling program planned in the Kubango-Okavango River Basin next year. In an operational update published on its website, Recon Africa said these activities include land access work, community engagement, demining tasks, as well as key equipment and services procurement. The Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism has approved minor amendments to Recon Africa's environmental clearance certificate. These adjustments aim to accurately capture the designated locations for the planned drilling wells, the Canadian-based exploration company said. The company is undertaking activities to have a well pad ready for drilling to commence late in the first quarter of 2024 in each focus basin, an oil-targeted well in the Rift Basin, and a gas-focused well in the Damara Fold Belt, Recon Africa said.
All right, moving on, let's take a look at our financial indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.44, against the euro at 20.36, against the US dollar at 18.33. 2 Namibian dollars and 58 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. On the commodities market, all major commodities went down, with Brent crude oil trading at 0.30%, going for $78 and 92 cents per barrel.
In international news, the New York Times sues OpenAI and Microsoft for infringing copyrighted works. Stay tuned.
We've always had the bravery to stand up for what is Namibian, from protecting our homes to fighting injustices. We still celebrate what it means to us and raise a glass to those who show their bravery. No matter how they take on the world, with all this potential in the land of the brave, what will you do to make this Namibia your Namibia?
Getting into our international news, the New York Times sued OpenAI and Microsoft, accusing them of using millions of the newspaper's articles without permission to help train chatbots to provide information to readers. The Times said it is the first major U.S. media organization to sue OpenAI and Microsoft, which created popular artificial intelligence platforms such as ChatGPT and Bing Chat, now known as Copilot, over copyright issues associated with its works. Writers and others have also sued to limit the so-called scrapping by AI services of their online content without compensation. The newspaper's complaint filed in Manhattan federal court accused OpenAI and Microsoft of trying to free ride on the Times' massive investment in its journalism by using it to provide alternative means to deliver information to readers. There is nothing transformative about using the Times content without paying to create products that substitute for the Times and steal audiences away from it, the Times said. OpenAI and Microsoft did not immediately respond to requests for comment. They have said using copyrighted works to train AI products amounts to fair use. The Times is now seeking a specific amount of damages, but the 172-year-old newspaper estimated damages in the billions of dollars. It also wants the companies to destroy chatbot models and training sets that incorporate its material. AI companies scrape information online to train generative AI chatbots and have attracted billions of dollars in investments. Investors have valued OpenAI at more than $80 billion US. I know we have talked about this before.
We are very open about our stance on
yes.
AI.
As journalists, of course, we do not want our work to be copyrighted, and you also just want to have the freedom to do your work without without worrying that somebody's going to use your work, in whatever means they want to use it for, and etc. So I think. Yeah, honestly, creatives are not happy with
AI.
Yes.
With AI in general.
In general, yes.
Because, we've seen the power of AI, and this is not even AI at its full capacity. So we can only imagine once it reaches its full potential.
ChatGPT can write a script for you.
Yes.
A script.
ChatGPT can basically generate anything.
Anything.
So, honestly speaking, I think the Times is right in suing. As much as Microsoft might try to argue and say that it's free use.
It's free use.
What do we define free use? There's never really been a definition for free use because we haven't had to deal with AI in the past.
This. Yes, we never had to even imagine that something like this can exist.
Could happen. So I think maybe now the laws need to be re-examined. They need to be revisioned so that we see, okay, what do we actually define as free usage? And also, but just the fact that they're using copyrighted work,
it's just wrong.
That just goes without saying.
It doesn't feel, and without even compensating the Times,
exactly.
We're going to use this, whatever, for our training program and so forth. And this is how much we would like to reach a deal with you.
Exactly.
And this is how much you're willing to pay for it. And then, there's a negotiation table, there's some conversation around this.
Exactly. At least have a collaboration or an agreement.
Yes,
because
exactly.
It could be a thing. Like I'm pretty sure had they approached the Times before they started using their articles without their permission, they could have reached some sort of agreement and some sort of understanding, right? To say, okay, we're trying to better our services or whatever. So they could have definitely.
I think so too. But also, just on that note, I think that I've already predicted this. My sister and I were like, we think ChatGPT and OpenAI and AI in general is going to cause some issues in the future because I saw some adverts that were saying, literally in the advert, it says, we can help you cheat in your homework or assignment. It says that ChatGPT can help you write an essay and you can pass with that's the advertisement, and I'm just like, that's wrong.
It's very wrong. And not just that, just to bring it back to the issue of AI, Cardi B had to sue a company that used an AI version of her to make an ad, and they didn't pay her. And she was like, I never promoted this company.
What? They used
Allegedly.
an AI? Yeah, allegedly. But that's crazy. The fact that AI can do that.
Exactly. So it looked like her, it spoke like her, it sounded like her.
Yes.
But she was like, I have never been in contact with this company.
I think I've seen that ad. I think I've seen that ad. I'm not going to comment on it, of course, because I'm not so sure which company it was, but I
Yes.
think I've seen that ad that you're talking about. So that's the thing that we're worried about. So actors might not have a job in the future, writers, creatives in general. And I think that's unfair.
Yes. All right, so that brings us to the end of our international news. After the break, Glenn Rashipura brings us the weather predictions.
Let's get into our weather predictions for tomorrow. Katima Mulilo can expect partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 19 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 33 degrees Celsius. Ruacana can expect sunny weather with a minimum of 19 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 32 degrees Celsius. Henties Bay can expect sunny weather with a minimum of 15 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 20 degrees Celsius. Rehoboth can expect a minimum of 16 and a maximum of 31 degrees Celsius.
Stick around for our sports stories coming right up. Starting off our sports news this evening, the Magistrates Court in Walvis Bay has confirmed that Edma Kamatuka appeared in court today in connection with an accident in which pedestrians were seriously injured. According to a report from the Namibian police, the alleged hit-and-run accident occurred this past weekend in the Tutaleni area in Walvis Bay. Reportedly, Kamatuka fled the accident scene without determining the extent of the damage and the seriousness of the injuries or providing assistance to the injured parties. His father allegedly took him from Windhoek to Walvis Bay, where he was arrested. Authorities were reportedly already aware during Kamatuka's arrest that he plays for the national soccer team, the Brave Warriors, and was supposed to travel with the team to Ghana. A similar accident has also been reported in the Mondesa area in Swakopmund, where pedestrians were seriously injured. However, no one has been arrested in connection with the incident yet. The police investigation is ongoing.
I mean, isn't this like the song that we sing every day, be safe on the roads? And to see that level of, carelessness and then also not taking accountability, you hit somebody and then you drive off.
But usually, what we've noticed in the past, especially with hit and runs, the guilty party is the first to run away because they are avoiding questioning of the police. Because
the consequences,
the consequences, and perhaps because they were under the influence of alcohol. So that is really a serious charge in itself. So that's why most hit and run
yes, that's
the reason
you would not have a reason to run if you're not guilty.
If you're not guilty, exactly. So we will be keeping an eye on the situation and seeing how it does go. But
it's really sad that he's a soccer player. He's somebody that a lot of people, I guess, young lads especially look up to, and this is the things that he gets up to.
Exactly.
It's really, really sad.
So we will be, like I said, keeping an eye out on the situation and giving you updates as they come.
Moving on, the Pupkewitz Jetty Mile took place yesterday at the Tiger Reef in Swakopmund. Maya Brinkman, aged 16 years old, was the first lady over the finish line. Let's take a look.
How did you love the Jetty Mile this year?
Oh, I always loved the Jetty Mile. I mean, it's a race I've grown up with. It's as old as I am. I've been here since day one. My dad's from every Jetty Mile, so it's awesome to come here and win it, which has always been a dream of mine ever since I was a kid. It was to win the Jetty Mile, and here I am, and I've achieved that dream, which is pretty awesome. So I'm very happy to be here.
I mean, yes, old as I am. She's only 16, by the way. She's only 16. Maya, we've been seeing you. We've been speaking about you. You had a good year.
Yeah.
I can say that you had a good year. I followed you throughout the whole year. But just tell me, all in all, finishing this last race for the year, I'm sure, winning it, how was this is just the cherry on top of the cake. Tell me, all in all, how do you feel about your swimming and competing this year?
Oh, it was an awesome year of competing. Even while I was swimming, I was like, to win this would just end the year on the high. It's been an amazing year. It was awesome. Swimming, triathlon, it's been a great year for my sport in general, and I'm so stoked to come here and just race again, which is what I love to do and what I do all the time. So yeah.
In Egypt,
In the last of our sports stories, German Bundesliga side Leipzig announced the arrival of midfielder Elif Elmas from Italian champions Napoli on Wednesday. The signing of the 24-year-old comes out as Leipzig parts ways with iconic midfielder Emil Forsberg, who joined in 2015 and led the club to promotion, but left last week to join New York Red Bulls.
And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Thursday evening. From me, Glenn Rashipura.
From me, Diana Master, this has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.